Okay. Hello everyone. I welcome you all to the ISER. Today I will give you some tips on how to effectively read a scientific paper and get the most out of it in less time. Hope you will enjoy the talk. First of all, a brief introduction about myself. I am Avinav Singh, a fourth year physics major student at ISEC Vishwabharati. I am still exploring my research interest, but I certainly like neuroscience and biophysics more. My hobbies are cooking food, reading books, and traveling, which has transformed into binge watching now in this lockdown. So, what's going to be in this talk? First, we will know why we need to read the scientific paper. Then, we will discuss a method given by S. Keshav, professor at Computer Science Department of the University of Waterloo, in his paper. This is called three-pass approach. Then, we will discuss few rules which you should keep in mind while reading a paper. And at last, you will be getting a bonus tip which you have to know at last only, and you have to stick around with me till the end of this talk, and I hope your internet connection supports for this. Before starting this talk, I will like to give a disclaimer. The ideas and the methods presented in this talk are not mine, but I have certainly used it in my internship days and while doing my research work. So these talk will be mostly helpful for the new guys entering into the research area, like first years and second years. But certainly, the experienced researchers can also use it in their research. They might have their own way to tackle a paper, and they can give it a try and see which method works best for them. So first we'll go with the introduction. I would like to ask my audience, in general, why do we read a paper or newspaper? You can unmute yourself and say it. Anyone? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, generally we read a paper or in general to for our own research purpose or something like that to gather the information mainly.
But you can get the information from the books also.
Yeah, the information from the books are not at the time very much up to date, but the research work
Yeah.
actually the very up to
Yeah,
date things are there.
yeah, you got the correct point. So books are pretty much old. They are published years ago, and it takes a long time to publish a book. And a book is a gist of hundreds or thousands of research paper, and it's very difficult to update a book every now and then. And if very few books are revised every year, and it will be difficult for the readers also to purchase a new edition of a book every year. So we read so we keep up to date ourselves with the scientific area or the area of our interest with the papers. And same happens with the newspaper or history books, or basically history books are also books, and newspaper is a current up to date version.
Here is a
And
to answer of your questions that
yeah,
Priyadarshi Tapavan is talking about that it's information for collecting information, and Monica Swami is telling that for knowing about recent research and info, some practical result and way of experiment.
yeah, yeah,
Priyadarshi Tapavan is again saying and something new and creative.
yeah. Creative, I would say create. Okay, creative also. Basically, not creative. I would say new method or new experiment. So creativity. I will generally like to keep that word with the artist or other areas, not in science. But it's okay. It's all of you are correct. So often in the first day of your lab, or when you are entering a research field, you will be fed up with bunch of papers to read. When I got my first paper, I started to read it from beginning to end like a book. I looked at every table, every figure, and I tried to understand every equation what it means. But certainly it is a very much wrong way, uh, very wrong way to read a paper and approach a paper. And I certainly done by most of us when we are reading our first paper. So reading a paper is a necessary skill, but it is not taught in universities or colleges. So let's discuss some methods. So first I will go through the three pass approach, or basically this method says that you should read a paper in three times, and after each time you should assess yourself that you need to read it further or not. So during the first pass or the first read, you should get a bird's eye view of a paper, what the paper tells, what is the structure of paper, and then you decide whether it is helpful for your research area, or do you find it interesting to read it more. And it generally takes 5 to 10 minutes to do this. So what we do in the first pass, during the first pass, you must read the title of the paper, the abstract of the paper, and the introduction section of the paper. You should also read the main headings or the subheadings of the paper, but you should skip the contents in between the headings. You should also not you should also take a glimpse but not go into details of the diagrams, equations, and the tables. Then you should read the conclusions, because conclusions just about the paper, what are the findings, what are the results of the paper. So you should definitely go to the read the conclusions. Then you should quickly see the references of the paper, and you can mentally tick off the references of the paper. After the first pass, you can get a gist of a paper. You should able to understand what paper is trying to say, but it's not necessarily you will fully understand the paper. And after the first pass, you should try to answer the 5 C's. The first C is the category. The category of the paper is what type of paper it is. Is it a prototype paper? It is an experimental paper which describes a new experiment or new method in your field, or it is a review paper, it is a literature survey done by the author. Then next C is the context of the paper. Context is something which puts perspective of this paper with other paper, or the relations with the other paper. Like you might have read quite a few papers now, and in your area when you are doing research, then how this paper is relating to those papers. For example, I have worked in nanoscience, so I would like to give one example. If I am reading a paper, then I will see, after reading introduction and the abstract and the conclusion section, I will certainly relate it to the other papers which I have read already, that how this paper trying the same approach as the previous papers, or it is using the same precursor material, or it is using it's forming a new same end products as the previous ones, or the end products have same functionality. So this is the context. You should put context with in context with the other papers. Then the next C is correctness. I have put a star mark because this correctness of the paper would you would not be able to answer it as efficiently when you are a new reader. It's mostly for the reviewers or the experienced reader, that or if you have more in-depth knowledge about the field. Basically it's about the validity of the paper, that are the authors making assumptions are correct, are the experimental method which the author is describing is foolproof, it doesn't have any loopholes, or what are the benefits, or what are the benefits of that experiment. So this correctness, you may or may not be able to answer it in when you are a new reader. Then the next C is contributions. What does this paper contribute in the research area in journal, in your topic, in your research topic in journal, or to you? If you are new reader, you might not know about the research area uh, in more detail. So does this paper contribute to you also? Does it improves your knowledge, or gives you a new explains you a new experimental method which you have not known before? The last C is the clarity. So oftentimes we find that most of the papers are very well written, and you can understand it very well. After the first pass, you can get the gist of the paper, but sometimes the language is too hard, or the paper authors have used so much hi-fi English that you can't able to understand in the first row. So the last C is clarity, how clear the paper is to you. After the first pass, you can choose to read it further, that is go for the second or third passes, or you may drop the paper down and never look up to it again. Basically, you can decline the paper because it is not of your interest area, or you are not working in that area, or this paper has some background information that you are not knowing, so this paper will be not helpful for you, and you can come to it later after reading that background information, or it is very poorly written and you cannot understand it at all. Then we go on for second pass. In the second pass, we read the paper basically each and every section we read, but we don't go in that detail that each like reading a textbook. We don't need to understand each and every equations of the each and every equations or proofs of the paper. We should take notes, definitely take the notes of the paper. We should highlight the important terms, new terms, and the acronyms used in the paper. Then you should see the plots and the figures carefully. What do those represent? What are the axes signify? And how it relate to the result? Does it support the data or results? Do they have any error calculation included in the graphs or plots? And you can ignore the proofs. Then you should mark the important references which are mostly used in the paper, or the paper is based on those which most important papers is based on that. This pass generally takes about an hour. You should not go beyond that. Then after the second pass, uh, you sh- uh, you should summarize the whole paper and make a summary on the top of the paper. I will discuss that in later. uh, then you you can't understand it fully. It's okay, because you might be new to the field, and or new experimental method was explained and you didn't understand it well, or it is well written, it is not well written, and it might happen that you are working late night in the lab and you are feeling sleepy, so you don't understand it fully. After the second pass, you choose to put the paper down or come back to it later after reading the background material, or go for the third pass. So in the third pass, it's basically mostly for the, I would say mostly for the reviewers and the experienced reader. Even if you are working in that field area, in that particular experiment or that particular hypothesis or theorem, then you should go definitely go for the third pass. In the third pass, you virtually re-implement the paper. That is, take the same assumptions as the authors are making and come up with your own results. And then later on, you verify the results with the author's result. It may take up to 6 hours depending upon your reading speed and your knowledge about that field. You should in the third part you should look read the paper in depth and ask question at each and every step, why the author is doing this step, why author is taking this assumption, why it is trying to prove this equation that way, etc and etc. This will give you insight about the strong and weak point of the paper and the loopholes which authors have made, or in the missing work which you can work on and build your research area strong. Then after the third pass, you will be able to pinpoint the weak assumptions which authors are taking and which don't have well enough proof. You can work on the missing links after reading the third pass. then you can look up to we can find the potential issues with the analytical or experimental technique which were newly described in the paper. What are the merits and demerits of that experimental technique? So next, I will discuss before discussing few important tips. Uh, I would ask anyone has any questions regarding related to these three pass approach. Sorry, I can.
Avinav,
Hello.
hello, Avinav.
Yeah.
I don't have a question, but I would like to add something to your 3+ point to the first years or the newcomer who are reading paper, that it is okay to not understand paper, because even now also when I am also reading paper, there are some points which we don't get it. Okay,
Yeah.
so it is very okay, and it is not, it is very normal that if you don't understand a paper to the point, you take time to read the paper and
Yeah.
analyze the data. Mostly the lab also differs from PI to PI, supervisor to supervisor, and the work and technique also differs. So it is okay that if you don't understand a paper.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay,
Even
there are two questions.
even the most experienced scientist so it's definitely fine. Yeah, Sushin,
Yeah,
go
yeah,
ahead.
you can complete then.
Can I ask something? Okay,
Yeah,
in the
obviously.
second pass, you said not to read, go through the proofs. Okay,
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
go through the, like, we might find something new if we try to solve it different way. If we are like if you are a very genius person reading a paper, so then I should
Mm.
do the proofs and derivations. It's important, right?
Yeah, it definitely relates to your field of interest. Basically, if you are working in a mathematical field, then certainly proofs are important. But you should not go into. You should basically look up not look up thoroughly to the proofs. You should go that in third pass because proof might take some times because maybe some of the steps are missing or at all, and you might end up uh, uh, snatching your hairs for too long that I'm not getting this step to this step. So it might happen. So you should go through the end results of the proof. Basically, I'm saying not proof or derivation. You should go to the what is the end result of the proof, and then if it is meaningful to you, then you can definitely go in the third pass. Basically, second pass is for making summary of that paper so that you can after all is it helpful for you or not. If you find it helpful, then you should certainly look up for the proof. Are you getting it?
Yeah,
Hello.
I got it. I got it. Thank you.
For example, if you are working in chemistry related work, chemistry field, then there might be some kinetics proof that how the equation is proceeding or something like that. But you don't want to know the kinetics of the equation. You are working with a certainly different aspect of the that equation, and you don't want to. You just want to know how fast will the reaction will proceed, and you don't need to go through the proof. It will be not helpful for you. It depends subject to subject and area to area. Okay.
Okay, so there are two questions. One is first one from Atul Roy. How to
Okay.
find the missing link?
Uh, that's a good question. It's difficult for new readers to find a missing link. Basically, you should have some background information about your field. It's certainly going to be experience based. If you are more experienced, then you can find that okay, I how did the basically you should question everything, every step you should question. How did the author get to this step? So do they reference it to some other work, or they have assumed it? If they assumed it, then you should it, then there's certainly a missing link because they have not given a proof.
And the second question is from Ritam Saha. Can you discuss the category of a paper again?
A category of paper. So there are different paper like some papers are new findings in area. Some paper may be computational paper. Basically, they are trying to explain the data presented previously, and they are trying to model it computation. They are trying applying some computational model. There can be experimental paper which are trying to synthesize a product or form a new material with different experimental approach, or they are using same experimental but finding different product. There can be review papers if you are working with certain hypotheses or equations. So a reviewer can uh, look up to initial stages and how this field evolves and what are the advancements made in the field. So this is a review paper. So these are most general types of paper. There are others also, like letter is also there. So different journals have different types of paper. You should look up to journals description, which papers they are, what are the papers they are publishing, what type of paper they are publishing. Okay. Hello.
Yeah, they replied okay, Ritam Saha. And
So these are not hard and fast rules, but you should keep these points in mind while reading a paper. Basically, it's a short description what I've discussed earlier, and some philosophy related to reading a paper. First is know your reading goal. So as a reader, you should know what you want to get out of an article. If you are new one and getting to know about a field, so you should read the introduction section and the conclusion section at most. Then if you are reviewer, then you should look up to each and every section and check whether the results are verifying the data or what are the biases involved in it. Then if you are looking up for a specific person's work, like if you some famous personality, you are trying to look up at his works, and then you can just give it a first pass and skim through the papers of what he has done and what methods he has used to give benefit that research field. Then you should understand what are the author's goal. This is basically same as what type of article a author is writing. Is it a review paper or it is a methods paper? Are they are providing any advancement in the field, or they are just giving just what the field has been through? And then what type of you should look what type of questions authors are trying to answer. Then is they are are they proposing new theory or a new method, or they are giving a proof to existing theory or hypothesis with stronger data or strong in stronger proofs. Then you should always ask 6 questions while reading a paper. The first question is, what is the motivation of the author? Why author want to know that? Basically same as what is author trying to answer, what question he is trying to answer, he or she is trying to answer. Then next question is, what methods he approached, how do they get to the answer, did they completely find the answer? The third question you should ask is, uh, why should author have done it that way? Why he has used that method or that proof to go to the answer? Is there any hidden bias involved in it, or author is biased? So it happens most of the time that some authors give a hypothesis and try to manipulate data and get data which is supporting that hypothesis. So there is a hidden biases also, so you should look up to that is there any bias or not, and why author is choosing that method only. Then you should see the results, also see match the results, are they supporting the data, or they you should go into details with the results basically. Then what is the author's interpretation of the result? As I said, that is there any biases involved in the author's interpretation of the result? Are they trying to prove hypothesis which they have given, or they are completely neutral about it? Or sometimes happen there are fields which are controversial field. There are two groups of scientists. So is author trying to support a group, adding proof to that group of scientists, or he is trying to approach a completely neutral way? Then what should be done? What should be done after reading that paper? Basically, this you can get insight about this question in the results or discussions section of a paper, where author most of the time authors try to give you insight that we have found till this step, and we are not get we in the future work we will try to do it these things and that things, we will try to approach with this method or that method. So you can also work on that area and look how this results helps in your research. The fourth step, you should always try to understand figures and the tables, because the figures, yeah, each figure and graph is worth 1,000 words. So while going to second pass, if you will, there are two in the second pass. There are two ways to approach a figure table. As I told that you should look into the figures and table in the second pass. So first way is either you read through the caption of the figures. Most of the time, the figures are explained in the caption, and you can get a more depth about the results that what authors have tried to find. Or you can first read the text of the paper and go along with the text, and where the figures are referenced, you then look up to the figures. The next point is you should understand the formatting intentions. So basically what Ritam asked, that what are the types of paper. So as the different types of as there are different types of paper, there is different intentions of the each section of paper. Like what does it, introduction gives what work has been done till now in that area, and method section gives the what is the method, and there are sometimes discussion section and conclusion sections merged, or sometimes results and conclusion sections are merged. So different journals have different formats, and different papers have different formats. So you should understand what that section is trying to explain, what that section means. So basically, I got this image, what journal overview, what different section means. I'm sorry for while viewers that this image might be very small, but you can look up to the source, and you can. This is freely available paper, so you can look up to the source and look at this picture. Then you should always be a critical thinker while reading a paper. uh, if a paper is published, it's not the absolute truth. Either it is published by a highly cited author or high impact journal. Often there are mistakes. Often there are mistakes published into the paper, and science is a evolving field. So what might seem true today will not be true tomorrow. It might be uh, rejected. That idea might be rejected with the new findings and new area. And also you should is there any biases in in the interpretation of your own results and the author's result, because same data can be explained by different hypotheses, or same hypothesis can be proved by different data sets. So that doesn't mean that that each of the data or hypotheses are true. So you should be critical and look up to more papers for that. Then and then we go to the philosophy for reading paper, that these points you should keep uh, as a journal good reader. You should be kind to the authors while you are referring to them, or while you are discussing with them in person or via any other platform. So you should ignore their mistakes, printing mistakes, or incorrect references in the supplementary section, etc. And also, if you are criticizing a paper, you should always do positive criticism, because hearing a kindly faced critic is constructive, and it motivates the author to uh, work more, while negative rude criticism or negative criticism will hurt the author, especially young scientists which are trying to gain their build their name in research area. So you should always do positive criticism. Then you should always be ready to go to extra mile. That is, you should go for second or third pass if you find that paper interesting, and you should definitely give it a second pass. And you should dig deeper into the supplementary materials, because often there are times when journals put limitations on the authors, that you have to give an article within 5 pages or within 2000 words, or except so and so. And they try to explain other methodologies which they have used in the paper in the supplementary materials. So you should always look up to supplementary material. Then you should, if you encounter new term or new acronym, then you should go for its background theory. If there are new methods or new proofs, then you should go for their background theory. And you should always highlight important terms and important references in the paper, that will be helpful for you in the later stages. Then you should talk about it. Basically, you should be an active reader. You should discuss the paper with your friends, your lab mates. You should discuss the paper in your journal club. If you are a teacher, then you should discuss it with your students, that this paper is interesting and you should look up to it. And Twitter is also a great source to discuss with other scientists and non-scientists. So basically, I got into this paper on Twitter only, that these 10 steps and 3 pass approach I have applied earlier, and I have been told by my lab senior, by PhD Bhaiya, under which I was doing my work. And these 10 steps I recently got to know about it from the Twitter only. Then build on it. This is if you are an experimental or theorist, this is general way that you should always add up to the paper. Always papers are with some missing, they end up on missing link. They try to they try to answer a question, but after answering that question, it never stops. You evolve with a new question. So you should always build on that paper. So science is like a wall with each brick as a paper. So as as science evolves, you build on each brick by brick. So the lower bricks get stronger and stronger, because you are referring to them and you're giving proof that this is strong. And science goes on like that. Next, we will go for the bonus tip. Congratulations, you have made till the end of this talk. So the bonus tip will be on how to organize your papers digitally. So if you have any questions till now, then you can ask, or I will discuss this tip with you. Are there any questions, or I should move forward?
Just wait 1 minute. If someone is typing something, then we
Okay,
can wait.
okay, okay.
Or you people can turn on your mic and just say if there are any question.
So I think I will discuss this method because this is only one slide long, and if someone is typing question, I will address it later. So when you when you are reading a paper, you try when you are trying to know about a field, you download multiple papers, and after a few time it will be getting difficult to look up to certain paper because they have different download names and all. So how to organize your papers? Earlier there were printed papers, so people tried to organize them in folders, but in digital way you have to know digital methods. So first rename your downloaded paper as last author, then first author, and then published year, followed by the title. So this should be your file name. So what is the benefit of this file name? That you can always group papers which are coming from the same lab, that is basically the last author's lab, and then you can see which year it is published, and so it is very helpful in while searching a paper related to that author or that year. Then inside the paper, as I told during the second pass, you should make a note. So in on the top of the paper you should always add one or two sticky notes which should contain its source and date, like is the paper was downloaded by you, or it was given by you, or you are in the mailing list of some journal club, so that you got that paper in your email from that mailing list, like that. So this gives this gives you idea why you downloaded that paper. Then you should always have a sticky note having specifying why you downloaded it, what was your thought while you downloading, were you looking at certain experiment or certain keywords while downloading it, and you should always put a short summary on that sticky note, so whenever you will open that paper you don't have to go that all those three long processes for reading that paper. You can just read your summary, add important methods or important terms, and you will get this paper I have to reference, so I have to read it again, and I will mm, I will use it in my research. That this is how you should organize your paper, and same disclaimer applies here also. This method, the file name method, I used it for my ebooks organization, but I have not used it in scientific papers organization because I came to this idea pretty recently on Twitter by one page. So thank you, and hope you enjoyed the talk. Are there, is there any question? Hello.
Yeah, it was really nice hearing these things. Actually, I have also read many papers, but like some of the papers, but I have not thought of like organizing the papers and
Yeah,
yeah, adding summaries, which are really helpful, I suppose.
Yeah, I got to know this method recently. While writing a report, project report or something, it's a hard time to
Yeah,
go to the open each and every paper and work with hundreds of tabs open in Chrome. So it's
yeah,
it was new to me also.
yeah, that's correct. I usually used to keep the
Thank.
summary, yeah, in a different PDF or so, but I think this method would be better to
Yeah,
keep the
now
summary along with the,
nowadays there are some online organizers also like uh, organizing softwares also like Mendeley has some paper organizing software, but those softwares you have to download again, and this is pretty much useful. You can add sticky notes to any PDF nowadays. So
yeah, that's correct.
Thank you, Abhinav, very much for this wonderful presentation.
Yeah, really,
It's like
yeah,
thank you
it
very
was
I
much.
good.
learned many of the I learned many of
Thank
the
you.
things that you said the hard way, I must say, and some of the things are again new for me also, and I hope for many persons again. It
Yeah,
was really very, very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
yeah. So have you
Yeah.
discussed about sending out the review papers also? Uh,
I was looking up. Sorry,
no, means
I
how to start reading about some field also. Actually, this was suggested by my PhD guide that if you are going to read any new topic which is subject to academic papers, so
Mhm.
firstly you should go through that review papers based on that topic
Yeah.
instead
So
of going directly into the main papers, what we can say.
yes, review papers
Yeah,
generally tend to summarize what all work has been done till now in
yeah,
that field. So is basically reading 10 papers and reading a review paper.
yeah. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
So
second thing, yeah.
while I was making this presentation, I got into some mm, references, some links which try to explain how to write a review paper also.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that will be new IO talk later on.
Okay. Yeah, it would be better if you can share the especially the Twitter link and the
Yeah,
paper
yeah,
you are seeing
definitely, definitely.
in our forum group. That would be quite helpful.
Uh,
Yes.
yeah, it would be
Yes,
helpful
yes.
when we are putting the talk on YouTube. We can add those
Mm-hmm.
details on the description of the video, right? Sabuj is here.
Yeah, obviously. We can do that.
We can do such type of stuff like Abhinav can collect the things and we can put there
Yeah,
for being helpful.
also we are making a Google Drive
Uh,
where we putting the presentation of the all the talks and the important documents of the all the talks, and we will share after everyone to this.
okay. I would like to add one more comment. When the Abhinav was telling about the second pass, so I think someone has a question about like how can we skip the proof in mathematics. So in reference to that, I would like to add that when you are reading a new proof, not from the literature, I would say like from the, let's say, from a paper. So the first step must be to understand with clarity what the statement is about. So in the second pass, I believe he what he meant is that in context to the mathematics, that you have to understand the statement and have to understand what are the implication that could be, what are the consequences that we can draw from the statement, like the corollaries from a theorem. In is the best word that often is used in mathematics. Uh, huh. So that was the thing.
Yeah. That, yeah.
Avinav, if you
Yes.
don't mind, can I add one thing to
Yeah,
you
yeah,
from my personal experience?
yeah, definitely, definitely.
See, after joining this lab, before joining this lab, I read 2 to 3 review paper. Okay, but while reading review paper also, I was a bit confused because I am not from bio background. Okay. But after joining the lab for 3 months or 4 months, after 3-4 months, I started understanding the paper. And now I am this stage that I can find loopholes in a paper. So it takes time to read the paper, understand the paper, and then to evaluate the paper. So these are three different stages. First, you have to understand the paper, then you have to present the paper. This is second phase. Third is you have to evaluate the paper. So it takes time.
Yeah.
So it's not a very short time period. Means it is not a thing that can be achieved in a very short time. It takes time.
Yeah. What you are saying that it is a long time. What the time limit, the time span which I have mentioned in the slides is about the reading that paper, because while first pass you should give it a 5 to 10 minute read, not more than that. So you will get a gist that this paper is beneficial to you or not. And certainly it takes long time to understand a paper. You might not be knowing all the details about that field or area. So that the 1 hour or 6 hours, that was about the reading time, which you must at least you must devote that much time while reading during that pass.
Yeah, I understand. I'm saying that
Yeah.
for evaluating a paper and understanding a paper, it takes time.
Yes. Basically, we learn from our mistakes only. During my first paper reading, it took me about 1 or 2 days to completely read from first line to last line. It was a bad idea to read it like a book.
You have to overskip a lot of things. Okay.
Yes.
Whenever I open a paper, I directly look at the figures only. Introduction, abstract, and figures.
Yes.
Okay, it was a very nice talk. Means it was very helpful for upcoming readers.
Yes. Thank you.
So guys, I would like to introduce you to one of my friend who is here from it is his first IO talk he's attending. His name is Soumya Nibedit Sahu. He got masters. He got admitted in masters this year in VIT, and he joined as a medical microbiologist in VIT. So it is his first IO talk. Maybe hopefully he will be regular in our IO talks from now on.
Yeah, that's great. Welcome, Soumya. We have one more Soumya in the group.
Yeah. Welcome.
Soumya with Soumya. Yeah, welcome.
Welcome to our IO, Isaac IO, and you can look up to our previous talks on our YouTube channel also. And where Soumya Bhaiya has also given a talk.
Yeah, there are some comments of thanks like that. Ruma Gora is saying it was good and keep it up, and thank you for the presentation. Priya Murmu is saying thank you, Abhinav. It is surely helped most of the readers. And Atul Roy is saying very informative talk, Bhaiya. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for being patient audience.
Yeah. So, if is there any more questions or something or any comments? Or today I will end this talk and we will meet it tomorrow again.
Hello.
Is there any question? Any questions from first years or any other batch?
I see only one first year student. It should be been more. Sorry, two.
No, there are two first.
Two were
Right,
there.
three first year students.
Okay, we should end this meeting.
Are we recording this talk? Like
Yeah,
you are recording this?
we are recording this talk.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So for today we are ending this IO. Tomorrow we will meet at 5 p.m. again. So bye bye for now.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye.